He has to leave 30 minutes early because he can't fly at night. So, Pickle Wheat became the cute young girlfriend that everyone loved when she joined Swamp People. After that, the cameras quit rolling. Cast members began to fight over money and space. There was a fight that got so hot that security had to separate the two groups. The network paid $50,000 to hide it. At the same time, tabloids were offering $25,000 for pictures of secret things. There were whispers and reports that her relationship with Chase ended, but the most shocking news came from someone she didn't expect. A terrible truth that would change everything forever was being kept from her by someone she trusted. The year Cheyenne Nicole Wheat was born, September 21, 1995, was the most dangerous for weather in Louisiana's recent history. Louisiana had terrible storms just 4 months before she was born. The damage was over $3 billion, and 6 people died. When Tropical Storm Jerry hit, her hometown of Hoydras was still drying out from the event. The waves from that storm were 5 feet high and moved through the bayous. Cheyenne was born in the middle of all that chaos. There was a trailer park for her family near the Atchafalaya Basin, and they had to leave twice before she was 6 months old. Eddie Wheat is her dad. Was an alligator hunter for the third family. During her birth, he had to steer their boat through rising swamp water that was up to his chest in some places just to get to the hospital. Going on that dangerous trip wasn't just to keep her alive. It showed what kind of life she was going to have. She would remember her childhood through the swamp. She wasn't known as Cheyenne for very long. Eddie gave her the nickname Pickle because he saw that when he spoke quickly, Cheyenne Nicole's speech looked like a shiny pickle. But it really stuck after something very dangerous happened. Pickle ate a whole gallon of pickles on a trip to the Save a Center store when she was 4 years old. That much salt was too much for her small body. When her sodium levels rose to 160, which is way above the usual range, she began to seize up. She had to be taken to a New Orleans hospital right away. Just barely holding on. 2 other shoppers were hurt when they slipped on the pickle juice that was all over the meat aisle of the store. Eddie made jokes after that the swamp tried to kill her with pickles before the alligators could. The name became a part of her. Her family knew she had strong instincts to stay alive. Boudreaux, her great-grandfather, who everyone called Beau, had been shooting alligators since the 1930s. Near Delacroix Island in July 1940, a 12-foot alligator bit off his little finger. Did not stop looking for food that day. He kept going until he caught all 8 of his targets. He held his hand together with a torn shirt. He didn't even see the doctor until that was over. Being a gator hunter that year made him $847, which is about $18,000 today. He was sick 23 days that season and couldn't play, but that didn't stop him either. Someone cut off his finger and put it in a mason jar with booze. And put on the mantle like a prize after the fact. That jar was right there when Pickle was born, a strange reminder of the family she came from. In his career, Beau killed 2,147 alligators, according to his shooting records that were found in 2019. He always shot from his knees to keep the boat steady, which was a unique way to shoot. People said that drive like that ran in the family and that Pickle got it all. Pickle was in danger again when she was only 3 months and 12 days old. The boat her family was in hit a hidden log in the bayou on January 6, 1996, and flipped over. It was only 41 degrees and 8 feet deep. It was full of alligators. Eddie had made a homemade flying car seat for Pickle and put her in it. She floated in that cold water and cried for 11 long minutes. They looked for her while she was gone. 3 young alligators, each about 4 to 6 feet long, began to circle her. Eddie later found the boat and saw bite marks in the bottom. It looked like they had flown into the area of a huge 13-foot bull gator without meaning to. The media in her area called her the miracle child. Some people said that the swamp itself had kept her safe. Pickle was already well into learning how to hunt when she was 6 years old. Her dad took her out on trips through the swamps of St. Bernard Parish in aluminum boats. To get gators to bite, she learned to stuff hooks with rotten chicken instead of fresh meat. She knew which snakes were dangerous and which ones weren't. She knew how the animals and the water changed with the seasons. The swamp was her school. Eddie and her brother James taught her. Together, they were known as the Three Amigos. Pickle was learning how to stay alive while the other kids were learning math. Louisiana's shooting season lasts from late August to early October. She missed a lot of school during that time, but she wasn't falling behind. Instead of reading books, she learned how to skin alligators, make duck calls, and steer a boat through rough seas. Her family also made duck and bird calls, so she had to learn how to shape wood and check each call for quality. She went through all of this before she even turned 13. By high school, she had also joined the theater, which came in very handy when the TV cameras finally came to film the Swamp People. Calls and Wheats was the name of the family business. Pickle worked there all the time as a teen, cutting duck and turkey calls by hand. She did more than just build them, though. After making sure the calls worked, she went out into the swamp by herself to test them. She learned to do it so well that she could almost perfectly copy 15 different duck calls. Because of her, the business began to grow quickly. She taught too, not just did projects under the water. She had taught more than 150 other shooters how to use the calls correctly by the time she was 18. In 2011, just after she turned 16, she went shooting for the first time. That was her first hunt, and she killed an 8-foot, 200-pound alligator with a crossbow. Even the more experienced shooters were shocked. During that year's 30-day season, she caught 12 alligators and made about $8,400. Later, her dad said that seeing her fight gators that weighed over 600 pounds scared him, but he was also proud of her. 85% of the time she was successful that year, while only 60% of shooters were successful. When she was 17, the next year, something almost killed her. The lake was still very early in the morning. The two of them had just caught a big 10-foot alligator. The boat flipped as it shook. Pickle was thrown into the swamp and hit her knees on underwater cypresses, which caused deep cuts in a shoulder that wasn't in place. She was unconscious for almost 30 seconds while she was underwater. He dove in and pulled her out. Helicopters came to help, and doctors begged her to go to the hospital. She said no. After 2 hours, she went back into the water and caught the same alligator. That almost killed her. Louisiana hunters told that story over and over again. Pickle began to change the family business between 2013 and 2015. She began giving live demonstrations at fairs and outdoor shows. She showed how to use a duck call at the New Orleans Outdoor Expo in 2014. It only took 15 minutes to get 50 mallard ducks to come to a pond. There were more than 300 people there, and her shop made $12,000. She used a method she called layered calling, which involved combining different types of calls to sound like duck groups. That way made things 40% more accurate. By the time she was 18, they were getting 800 calls a month and their business was making 285% more money. Hurricane Katrina hit on August 29, 2005. Pickle was only 9 years old at the time. It broke everything her family had. Their house, shooting gear, and $45,000 worth of duck calls are all gone. Their land was 6 weeks deep and water 8 feet high. For 14 months, they had to live in a FEMA trailer in Baton Rouge. It took 3 years and $78,000 saved to repair. The family stayed together, though. The storm not only destroyed their home, but it also made Pickle stronger for the rest of her life. Before she went on season 12 of Swamp People on February 4, 2021, Pickle Wheat wasn't meant to be famous. But that day, everything changed. She was the youngest person to ever go on the show, 25 years old. She seemed small, quiet, and maybe even out of place. But it was clear right away that she wasn't just there to be a part of the group. She was there to make things interesting. Her name was already easy to remember. Pickle. It was just a joke at first. The way her dad said her name, Cheyenne Nicole, made it sound like a shiny pickle. That joke stuck with her so much that it became who she was. As a child, she loved pickles, so the name fit. She was born in Poindres, Louisiana, on September 21, 1995, into a family that didn't hunt for fun, they did it to stay alive. One of the first people in St. Bernard Parish to kill alligators was her great-grandfather. She was the fourth generation and had grown up with duck calls and bloody boat decks instead of TV dreams. Pickle didn't do anything. Some of the guys who had been hunting in the swamp for decades didn't know it as well as she did. Wheat's Custom Calls was a small family business that she helped run. There, she made turkey and duck calls by hand. She carved when she wasn't out hunting. She was getting ready for the next season when she wasn't cutting. That's what she was. That's what made her unique. But the partnership was something no one saw coming. Pickle was paired with Troy Landry right away. Troy was already known as the Swamp King. He had been in the business for decades, had a huge following of fans, and was known for not putting up with nonsense. Pickle fit in some way. At first, it seemed odd for this little girl to work with the man who made the show famous, but their flow was real. She didn't want to prove anything. Troy saw that she just showed up and did the work. After that, things got bad. Pickle wasn't just taking notes from Troy. She went out with his son. Chase Landry and Pickle agreed to be together on Facebook on October 25, 2020. Just before the movie started. All of a sudden, the show became more tense. A young woman goes shooting with her boyfriend's dad while trying to gain his trust and the trust of the viewers. Pickle did it, even though it wasn't easy. She was good at sorting and keeping track of things. Her gut feelings were dead on. People began to cheer for her. She wasn't just the boyfriend's friend. She was the real deal. She went even further after that. By season 13, she wasn't just making it in the group, she was in charge. A lot of people watched. Not only for the gators but also for Pickle. Along with Ashley Jones, another female hunter, she helped open a doorway for women that wasn't normally open to them. Pickle didn't open the door. She walked right through it. Cull in hand, boots dirty, and eyes fixed on the task at hand. She went into business with selling things. Shirts that looked like Pickle M cost $30. This 88010 picture of her sign quickly sold out. Her page had a lot of hunting gear, pictures, and personalized calls. Fans asked her to make cameos, and she did. This showed that she could build a brand without losing who she was. But she kept going back to the swamp even though she was building a business. The next part of her story was what really shocked me. Things might not have gone as planned after her breakup with Chase. She moved forward, though. The next one was Joshua Kippaw, an EMT from New Orleans. They met in November 2022 at the scene of a shooting accident. Pickle cut her leg when she slipped at a turkey event. Joshua went to the scene of the accident. It hurt and she was bleeding, but she was still kidding. He was shocked by how tough she was. After 3 weeks, they were going out together. In April 2023, she gave birth to their daughter, Miami. They got married in September 2024. Pickle told everyone on October 18, 2024, that she was pregnant again. She was recording Swamp People while taking care of a baby. And getting ready for another child. When real life gets in the way, television stars fade away. Pickle just acted out her real life. She worked through all the bad weather. To make movies, people had to work 14-hour days, move gators in 100-degree heat, avoid storms, and fill out all of their tags. One mistake could hurt someone or make things worse. Even the post-production team walked off the job in 2013. Because they had crazy plans, but Pickle kept going. When Troy Landry told his friends in 2022 that he had prostate cancer, they were heartbroken. At age 61, he wrote on Facebook that cancer had spread to his manhood. Doctors took it off completely. The whole group was scared. Production had to change, and Pickle's plan had to change too. Still, she stayed and quietly helped him, while keeping her own story going. Not everything got shown on TV. Pickle and another cast member almost got into a fight in September 2023 over lost tags. Pickle yelled at him, "Don't mess with my family's money." They had to be split up by the crew. They spent $50,000 to reshoot the video and cut it all out of the final episodes. Deals were made and signed. There were no leaks. No one on the set forgot, though. At the beginning of 2024, news blogs began to spread false information. They said Pickle was still seeing Chase Landry behind his back. The press caught them in a store while they were buying shooting gear. One newspaper told her they would pay $25,000 for pictures of her with a male cast member. Pickle had enough. She replied on Instagram in April 2024, Chase's family. Joshua makes my heart beat faster. Also, these newspapers are rubbish. That year, she wrote a Valentine's Day post called Joshua, the Vienna sausage to my dear Stan. That put an end to the stories. The craziest thing happened in February 2025, though. The 8th episode of season 16 ran on the 20th. It was called Gators, Guns, and a Wedding. Pickle's wedding was led by Troy Landry. People who were watching began to talk again. Was something going on? Did the bond get stronger? Troy finally said it, "I see Pee-wee as the daughter I never had." In an interview in June 2025, he said, "She's not only strong, she's smart too." Pickle had one more thing to say. This was before she became famous in 2021. She was in a relationship that almost broke her up. It was too much for her boyfriend to handle that she loved shooting. He gave her a choice during the busiest time of the year in late 2021. The swamp or him? She picked the swamp. In December, he showed up at her shooting camp, yelled in front of everyone, and made her feel bad. That split made her very angry. By the beginning of 2022, she was shooting swamp people to show everyone what it was really like to be free. Pickle Wheat and Troy Landry became a big deal in 2023 and 2024. Watchers couldn't help but wonder if they were seeing each other more. Fans started looking through their social media posts, even looking at deleted photos and posts with strange comments, because they had such a natural chemistry on screen. During season 16, episode 8, Gators, Guns, and a Wedding, in February 2025, everything changed. Troy was the one who married Pickle and her fiancé on the Belle River. During the vows, Troy said something that stopped all the reports right away. He looked at her and told her, "Look at Pee-wee as the daughter I never had." All the ideas about dating fell apart at that moment. After some time, he talked about her in an interview and said she was smart and strong, and that she was like family to him. He even said he wanted to say a lot more personal things at the wedding, but Pickle told him not to stray from the script. Pickle had a terrible breakup that changed the way she thought about love a long time before she became famous. At the end of 2021, during the busiest shooting season, her boyfriend gave her a choice. He or going hunting. She picked to hunt. They were together for more than 3 years, but broke up when he made a scene at a deer shooting camp in December 2021. "It made me look bad and broke my heart." And they broke up just a few months before she tried out for Swamp People. That pain gave her strength. Early on in their relationship, she made it clear to Joshua Kippies that they would be shooting together. Things got hot while season 14 was being filmed in September 2023. Pickle learned that someone else on the cast had taken gator tags from her area, which had a direct effect on her family's income. She talked to him in person at the boat launch. People who saw it say she yelled at him, "Don't mess with my family's money." 3 crew members and Troy had to step in to stop it because it got so bad so fast. The next day, producers had an emergency meeting and changed the rules for how tags were given out. That scene was cut from the last shows. It is said that the network paid $50,000 on different footage to hide it. Everyone signed a paper saying they would not talk about it. Another surprise came next. Pickle hurt her leg while hunting turkey in November 2022. Her leg was badly cut when she slipped on wet roots and had to call for help right away. Joshua went to the scene of the accident as an EMT. It only took him 18 minutes to get to her. She was flirting with him even though she was bleeding, and she joked that she'd never been saved by someone so good-looking. He was hit by how tough she was. After 3 weeks, they went on their first date to another shooting event, where Joshua Field dressed a deer to show how good he was. In February 2023, she put online pictures of the two of them. On September 21, 2024, they got married. But things weren't always easy. In 2024, Gossip magazine spread the false rumor that Pickle was seeing Chase Landry behind Joshua's back while they were engaged. There was a picture of her and Chase shopping for hunting gear that made the report stronger. In April 2024, they had enough and wrote a strong message on Instagram. Is family. Joshua makes my heart beat faster. These rags are not worth reading. The whispers stopped after that post. On Valentine's Day, she even joked that Joshua was her champagne to my hunches and her Vienna sausage to my deer stand. It worked, even though it was weird and sweet. Pickle has done more than just hunt. She has helped the business her family runs grow. Wheat's call to play. Where it all began in the 1970s. Her great-grandfather was one of the first Isleno settlers, and in Louisiana, the family still makes duck, turkey, and predator calls by hand. Pickle learned everything from her dad. She now works with her parents and her son James. Even though they use YouTube to show how they make calls and hunt, they have kept the old ways living. Pickle's fame has grown since she joined the Swamp People in 2021. Since season 17 is over, her net worth is now between $300,000 and $2 million. She makes about $10,000 a show. She is one of the youngest and most well-known group members, at only 29 years old. She was also in Swamp People and Serpent Invasion, which brought her more money and fans. Being one of the few women alligator shooters on national TV made her stand out right away. Her personal life has also been very busy. In 2023, she had her first daughter, Miami, who is also known as Miami in some accounts. After that, she had a son named Casey in April 2025. Having her second child wasn't easy. She got sick and had to rest for weeks, which meant she couldn't go shooting. She kept sharing updates, though, like one of herself raking leaves and staying active while 9 months pregnant. Fans felt connected to her because she was honest about being a mom. Mama Still Got Them Guns was written next to a picture of her in a swimsuit on Instagram. Another Mother's Day picture of her family looked real and crazy after her daughter told her she looked strong. She knew she could have picked a better picture, but she chose that one because it reminded her of good times. The wedding that Pickle and Joshua had in September 2024 was one of a kind. It was shown on Swamp People. With alligator tags and wedding chores for Troy Landry. Pickle wore pearls and a white dress with no straps. They got married in the swamp, and her dad wore a green hat. During the promises, Troy told Joshua that Pickle's stubbornness would be a real test for him. He called her the daughter he never had, though. And everyone who saw it could feel how real it was. In 2024, there was another shock. Pickle told us that her grandpa had been attacked by an alligator in 1970 and had gotten away. The specifics are secret, but it hurt so much that she got a tattoo to remember him. That story showed how brave she was in many ways. She was not only brave when she hunted, but it was also very personal. The people in her family had lived through the worst of the swamp. For her, it was more than just a job. Pickle didn't hide anything, even after having her second child. She put up videos of herself that made her look tired and hurt. But he was still set on getting in shape for gator season. She said she couldn't wait to be back in the boat in May 2025. People liked her even more because she was so honest. She wasn't acting like everything was fine. Many people loved her because she showed the mess, the love, and the chaos of it all. Pickle also used her name to build a strong business. She has clothes, hats, hoodies, and signed pictures for sale. And hunting gear, all of which had her nickname and gator images on them. Her number of followers on social media keeps going up. She posts videos of her hunting, pictures of her family, and strange things she finds in nature, like glowing wood she found in May 2025. She has over 100,000 fans on Instagram. A quote from her Instagram bio says, "A society grows great when old men plant trees whose shade they'll never sit in." It says a lot about her in that one line. It's not just about hunting to her, it's also about family. Pickles is still going strong even though she has 2 kids and runs a business. She said that season 17 was the hardest one she had ever done. She still works for Troy Landry, though. And fans still love how they work together. She has her own YouTube channel with movies that get a lot of views, such as Pickle Wheat fishing. Plenty of people still watch Swamp People on the History Channel, and Pickle is a big part of that. She has shown that she can do everything at age 29. Keep it real while you hunt, raise a family, and grow a business.